We are in week 8 of college volleyball now. The season is absolutely flying. I'm Michaela Chester for NCAA Digital, and I've got my latest Power 10 rankings. And we've got some very crazy shakeups this week. One in particular, actually. So get ready for some conversations because I've got Ohio State up at number 6. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, Wisconsin, Texas, Nebraska, Minnesota, and Kentucky. The Badgers idle for the past 2 weeks due to COVID-19. The team to beat will be back this week, though. Texas just beat Baylor for the 3rd time this season. Logan Eggleston put up 23 kills offensively with the help of Breon Butler and Skylar Fields. Their defense was impeccable down the stretch to keep Baylor from pushing a 5th set. And they held reigning AVCA National Player of the Year Yassiana Presley to a .044 hitting percentage. They're the number 2 team in the country for a reason. Nebraska had 2 sweeps over Illinois, and Minnesota's 2 matches against Ohio State, which would have been an interesting series, were postponed due to COVID-19. Kentucky finished last week with 2 sweeps over LSU. Madison Lilly took home SEC Player of the Week and Setter of the Week from her 83 assist weekend. And Allie Stundler earned SEC Offensive Player of the Week from her 34 kills on 481 hitting weekend. I'm most excited for the Florida matchup, their first top 10 opponent, which is in 2 weeks. Now for number 6. Remember, these are my Power 10 rankings. These are not the AVCA rankings. I get to go off of how teams are playing right now. And Ohio State, they're 12-0 and currently first in the Big Ten. And they just pulled off the season sweep over Penn State, defeating the Nittany Lions in Rec Hall for the first time in almost 2 decades. They hit 380, their highest mark of the season. Emily Londat has had double-digit kills every single match this season. So yes, Penn State is their 2 biggest wins of the season, but they've had no losses either, and they deserve the recognition. The undefeated schedule, though, will be put to the test right away with Nebraska this weekend. Next up, Washington. They are at 7 for me. The 2 wins against Utah were big, even though they have a few losses on the season. Last weekend, they split the series with Oregon. And honestly, I think the Ducks should be in the top 10 or 15 discussion as well. Florida's at 8, and they could easily be much higher based on how well they've been playing lately. And they will have an even better chance of moving up when they have a top 10 matchup against Kentucky. Baylor moves down to number 9 after its 3rd loss to Texas last week. I had to put Ohio State and Washington above them due to having bigger wins over ranked teams. Florida doesn't have that either, but they haven't lost since the start of the spring season. And Utah rounds out my top 10. Purdue could have been in here as well, but I dropped them out after they split the series with Penn State over the weekend. I still feel really high on that team though, and I would say Purdue and Oregon are my first out. That wraps it up. Keep up with this week's upcoming matchups on NCAA.com and NCAA Volleyball Social.